Hello and welcome back to the workshop. It's been quite a while since one of our last updates. So now that Christmas is over and it's the new year, we've been cracking on with Power Car 69, and the more we poked, the more we found. We brought this vehicle in after 749 was finished, simply to give its roof a repaint. We thought bodywork was absolutely fine on it, but we then thought, what's this gash here? And we poked, and our faces just dropped in horror because the whole thing had just split. There was rust everywhere, corrosion right where you don't want it. So either we could just slap some Isopon on it and hope for the best and shove it out, or try to do it properly so that we get at least some good year's use out of the vehicle. Of course, with all the water getting in, it had all gone down the back of the seams of the doors. And of course, the only way to get at it was to take the doors off. You had to winch those off from the roof. As an example of just one of the surprises, this panel was just rotten hardboard. I took it off just to replace it, and just a wall of rust and mud and old insulation just fell straight out on top of me. Over lockdown, we started to notice when the vehicle was parked outside that rust bubbles were starting to form just around the edges, and we thought, no biggie. When it's in, we'll just scruff that down, touch them up, good as new. But again, when you just burst them and poke, you realise that actually the corrosion went far deeper and far more around the frames than we had expected. We took advice from various Mark II owners across in England. Every single one said the same thing: the frames have to come out, you have to treat the rust, kill the rust before you can repaint, otherwise you're just wasting your time. And as you can see, when we take this frame off, there's about an inch of just rust, and if I just simply blended that in, that would have been back out within weeks. So the idea is just to take all this old mastic off, and as you can see, there's not exactly an awful lot of that. Replace that with a modern sealant, grind that all off, treat it, prime it, and then paint it, and then put the frames back in. In order to take the windows out, they had been Isopon, the rivets had been Isoponed over to give a nice flush appearance. That meant grinding down the paint, punching the rivet heads out, then drilling them out, and then just gradually ease the frame out of its surround. So while the outside work is going on, inside we've been trying to restore some of the original appearance of the 80 class by steaming off the 1990s vinyl to reveal the original 1970s Formica, this really sort of weirdly dated, fantastic looking stuff, which is just, it's like archaeology. You're just scraping back the layers and discovering it still underneath. Of course, the 80 class, when they were introduced in the 1970s, weren't designed for wheelchair users. NAR did their best with what they had in opening up this double door into the guards compartment so that wheelchair users could actually get into the saloon. They took out one of the seats, but it wasn't ideal. So we're taking the opportunity to completely take a fresh look at how the saloon can be arranged so that more than one wheelchair user could use it, and also be able to sit at a window. One of the fun little things that we've discovered while doing this work is sort of like this kaleidoscope through time. You can go right back to the 1970s with the original maroon, the 1980s grey, then the 1990s intercity blue, and then again the so-called Red Bull TransLink livery, and then its last in-service livery of the bright yellow for the Sandow, and then we're back to maroon. And it's actually quite nice to know that the two maroons match. So that's where we are with 69 now. Next stage is to get everything cleaned up, windows back in, and get it water sealed. As well as that, there's some mechanical and electrical work happening at the same time in the cab and the engine room. And we're hopeful that all things being well, we should see it back in traffic this year. The project has been far bigger than any of us anticipated, but with extra work comes extra cost. And so in order to get 69 back in operation, we continue to need your support. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you can donate anything towards this project, please follow the link below and give what you can.